Coming up, the entire community jumps in to help a Harlan County family following a deadly fire. And we talked to those remembering a longtime Martin County girls basketball coach killed in yesterday's crash. And we now know the identity of a man found dead in the Johnson County pond this weekend.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Taylor Upchurch. Today is Wednesday, April 24th. Let's check in with Brandon Robinson for a look at your forecast this morning. Brandon, it looks to be a pretty warm day today.
It does, and fairly mild start this morning, dry for most, a couple of scattered showers overnight to the north. But down here this morning in the camera network, we take a look there at Jenkins along US 119, US 23, all quiet as we head toward dawn this morning. McKee, also pretty quiet heading toward daylight the last couple of hours there. We're going to see again a nice forecast this morning. Temperatures between 51 and 61 depending on where you are. No 40s this morning. The planner today 77 for a daytime high. Could we see a chance for a stray shower after this afternoon? Possibly, but again I don't think it's going to be very high, 10% or less at this point, so just kind of keep that in mind. Rest of the forecast on the way here in just a few minutes. Taylor?
All right, thank you, Brandon. Days of heartbreak in Harlan County. We're learning more about the two people who were severely burned in a Harlan County house fire yesterday and their two children who died in the fire. WYMT's Connor James talked with a responding officer who was also a member of the family and has more on what the community is doing to rally behind the family.
We often avoid the word tragic, not to diminish the significance of it.
You know, their family's really worried for them, that's for sure.
But tragedy looms in the air here in Tots and across Harlan County.
Yesterday hit home. One of the burn victims in this case is a family member of mine.
Two young children no longer around. Just like many here, there's a heaviness on Detective William J. Howard's heart. Dennis Chad Howard is his cousin.
I spoke with him on scene. He has a long road ahead of him.
Detective Howard comforted him as he was prepped to be taken to a burn unit.
You know, it's difficult, you know, for his family, his parents. They're both having a hard struggle with it. He sustained some very serious injuries.
Dennis Chad Howard's wife, Allison Howard, also being treated for just as severe burns. It's a moment when Detective Howard was not just acting as a first responder, but family.
You know, going there, you know, we didn't know for sure who it is. You know, we put our lives on the line every day and work hard, family or not.
But within this heartbreak, this tragedy, there is hope. Multiple fundraisers set to help less than a day after, one even raising more than $5,000 in 17 hours.
Prayers are requested. Chad and Allison both, they got some difficult days ahead of them. They're in very serious condition.
As a community takes the pain of loss and turns it into something more powerful, a helping hand. In Harlan County, Connor James, WYMT Mountain News.
As we continue to learn more about the condition of the Howards, we'll update that on our website along with the fundraising efforts. And a crash in Martin County killed a well-known coach yesterday morning. Since 2013, Tim Rice coached the girls basketball team at Sheldon Clark High School and worked as an in-school suspension teacher. The crash happened on New Route 3. Officials believe Rice hit the back end of a cement truck with his SUV. The coroner pronounced him dead around 8:30 a.m. Senior basketball player Mackenzie Preston says Rice was not just a coach.
Like, they've watched him coach, but he meant more than a coach. He was a friend, he was a companion, he was a good person.
The driver of the cement truck was not injured. Police do not believe alcohol or drugs were involved. Rice was just 59 years old and was from Betsy Lane. Late Saturday evening, a body was found in a pond at the Paintsville Golf Course. It turned out to be 29-year-old Herbert Blevins. Blevins is a Johnson County native. Many describe him as a family man that always made sure to call his mom or siblings once a day. When his mother had not heard from him, she knew something was wrong.
I saw him Saturday and he said, "Mommy, messaged me and let me know you made it home okay." And when I got home, I messaged him and I got no reply to him. And I kept trying to get a hold of him. by Saturday evening, I still hadn't heard nothing. And that's when I called my daughters and I said, there was something wrong. Bubby didn't message me back.
The funeral for Blevins will be held at the Preston Funeral Home this afternoon at 1. The condition of 8 people, the youngest being only 13 years old, is left in the balance after a car raced through an intersection directly onto the sidewalk yesterday evening. The Sunnyvale Department of Public Safety said they suspect the act was possibly intentional. When asked why they believe this, officials said victims reported that the vehicle made no attempts to slow down or avoid them. The identities of those involved are not being released at this time. And back in eastern Kentucky, a man is dead following a crash in Jackson County. It happened on Highway 3630 in Annville. State police say a woman pulled out in front of another vehicle from the Town and Country Market. They say her passenger, 86-year-old Don McQueen, died. Police have not filed any charges in the case. We've learned investigators filed charges against a man in connection with a Clay County deadly crash. State police charged Alfred Francis with DUI. On April 8th, they say he crashed into J.D. Hacker's car, killing Hacker. At the scene, a state trooper said Francis appeared to be extremely under the influence and told them he smoked marijuana prior to driving. Court officials tell U.S. court date was delayed because Francis is still in the hospital. A woman is facing charges after a multi-vehicle crash in Laurel County. Deputies say 43-year-old Jacqueline Thurmond was under the influence of alcohol when she struck 3 other vehicles on West Laurel Road around 9:20 Monday night. Deputies could smell alcohol from Thurmond following the crash. They say at least 1 person was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Thurmond is now facing several charges, including DUI and assault. A 70-year-old woman fell to her death at the Grand Canyon National Park Tuesday. Park rangers got a call that a person needed help just after 1 p.m., but the woman fell before rangers could mount a rescue effort. In fact, a technical rescue team had to use a park helicopter to locate and recover her body. She was found about 200 feet below the rim. It's the second such accidental death in Grand Canyon National Park this year. And today is execution day for the man behind one of the most horrific hate crimes in modern-day history. John William King is slated to die in Texas on April 24th for the dragging death of James Byrd Jr. King and 2 others beat Byrd before chaining him to the pickup truck and dragging him almost 3 miles in 1998. Byrd's brutal murder shocked the world and spurred Texas and Congress to pass hate crime legislation. The U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear King's final appeal in October. That means the 44-year-old will be executed, barring a last-minute stay. And new details are coming out in the case of pipe bomber Cesar Sayoc. Sayoc wrote in a letter to a federal judge that going to Trump rallies, quote, became like a newfound drug. Sayoc pleaded guilty last month to 65 felony counts, including using weapons of mass destruction in an attempted domestic terrorist attack. He confessed to mailing 16 explosive devices to various individuals and entities, primarily high-profile Democrats and CNN. Thankfully, none of these devices exploded and no one was hurt. An escaped Knox County inmate is back behind bars. Investigators say an off-duty officer spotted this man, Christopher Denham, walking along North Main Street in Barberville around 7 last night. Denham is accused of jumping into the Cumberland River to escape work detail around 11 a.m. Police say Denham already had 2 needles on him when he was arrested. He's also accused of stealing clothes from Walmart. A Pike County man says he's been collecting his dead father's Social Security checks for nearly a decade. In his plea agreement, William Cummins admitted to not reporting the death of his father and changing the direct deposit information for his dad's Social Security account. Between 2008 and 2018, police say Cummins collected about $115,000. He's been ordered to give that money back. Cummins will be sentenced on August 2nd. He faces up to 10 years in prison. Staff and students at Lynn Camp made the legacy of a coach permanent on Tuesday. Students and staff invited loved ones of Coach Richard Bird Dog Jones to the school on Tuesday afternoon, where the gymnasium was dedicated in his honor. Coach Jones died late last year after battle with cancer. Jones was a longtime teacher and coach at the school with many accolades.
He coached track over the years, baseball, softball. He did a little bit of everything. So he's most deserving of anybody we could think of.
The dedication started at 1 o'clock on Tuesday and was followed by a hospitality dinner for Coach Jones' loved ones in the school. One of our own received a big honor last night. WYMT National Sales Manager John Roberts, who's a member of the Pikeville Main Street organization, was named Volunteer of the Year at the 2019 Kentucky Main Street Conference in Covington. Pikeville Mayor Jimmy Carter was honored with the Spirit of Main Street Award, and Minta Trimble, the director of the organization, was named a Certified Main Street Director. Congratulations to all of those who were recognized. And now let's send it over to Brandon Robinson for another check of your weather.
Forecast this morning starting off dry, a few showers near the Mountain Parkway I-64 corridor overnight, but for the most part, no major activity this morning. We see that on live pinpoint Doppler radar, clean sweeps across the board. Temperatures anywhere between 52 and 59. Actually, Jacksboro went back to 61. That tricked me there for a second, but temperatures still continuing to fall in some areas. So between an iced coffee and a normal coffee type day on the coffee meter, your out the door forecast features sun and clouds. Chances for stray showers, not a great chance though, and temperatures close to 80 degrees later this afternoon. Taylor?
All right, thank you, Brandon. We'll be right back.